I've never played Secret of Mana. I just want to set your expectations right now. I went right into Seiken Densetsu 3 way back with the fan translation. But looking back, I can't remember a thing about the story and very little about the actual gameplay. It's weird, for some reason the only thing I can remember was playing Hawk and being annoyed that the dodge animation was happening so often that I couldn't attack. No idea why that's all that stuck out, but after going back, dodging too much was definitely not a problem. Now, when I saw the first trailer for Trials of Mana, I loved it. It made it on my list of most anticipated RPGs for 2020, which might sound weird for a game that I can barely remember, but what can I say?
I can feel it. The haunting cries of the wind.
So in preparation for the release, I went back and played through Seiken Densetsu 3, and that might have been a mistake. So today, I want to talk about my experience with Seiken Densetsu 3 and what I hope they change in Trials of Mana. By now, Trials has been out a few days and reviews have been out even longer, but I've managed to avoid them all for the most part, so I should be going into Trials pretty fresh. So the story. There are 6 total characters and you get to pick 3, the first pick being your main character. So the story will focus more on that first character, but you will get enough information from your other 2 party members to understand why they ventured out. I started with Hawk again. The leader of his thieves guild is being manipulated and Jessica has been cursed. To make things right, he needs to find the Priest of Light and then eventually the Sword of Mana. I also chose Reese, who is looking for her brother Elliot, and Charlotte, who's looking for Heath. The story is okay, eventually evolving into a quest to save the world. It's just very shallow. I have to admit that I only played through it once, and it is recommended to play through the other character's story, so obviously picking another main character would fill in some holes. But there are questions I feel should have been answered. Without getting into spoilers too much, I've got a lot of questions about Mavolia and the Big Bad. So in Trials, I really hope they actually show a lot more. Things just happen in this game and it's just told to you later. I would love to see how the Dark Prince accomplishes what he does. Belladonna does give a couple lines at the end about his past that almost makes you feel sympathetic for him, but we need more. And let's actually see it. The party members need more love too. I know they aren't the focus, but by the end of the game, I learned very little about Reese and Charlotte, and even less about Elliot and Heath and why they were so important to them. The gameplay. This is an action RPG that honestly almost felt turn-based at times. Basic attacks are done by hitting A. Each successful hit fills a little bar under your character portrait. Fill it up enough, hit B, and your character will do a special attack. And hitting X pulls up the item or spell ring. Now here's the problem. Outside of regular attacks, all those other actions pause the game. Everything. Even the enemy's abilities. This is another instance where the genre kind of dictates expectations and just what and how much we're willing to put up with. In a turn-based RPG, I welcome slow combat and menus. In an action RPG, I expect things to happen quickly. It took some getting used to, but the game just didn't feel smooth or responsive to play. If a skill is about to go off, whether it's your own or the enemy's, I couldn't pull up the ring or use a B attack. There's no indication of what's going on, so I'm just spamming the button and nothing would happen. So yeah, took a bit to get used to. In Trials, I really hope they work on this. The trailer does show that skills are cinematic. I guess it's possible combat continues while it's happening, but doubt it. So I'm expecting that, but not everything should stop the flow of combat, especially items and buffs. This is a big thing. I love this story, but I'm willing to let that slip a bit if the combat here is fun and flows. Speaking of items, that was bad too. The first few rounds of buying equipment, I would buy for one person, and the conversation switch character, then talk to the shopkeeper again, because when you try to buy gear for another person, it says it can't be equipped. I did eventually learn that you can hand it off to the proper character, but this can be improved. Please. Finally, the AI needs to be way better. AI-controlled characters don't use any spells, which is crazy, but considering all the pausing it would cause and magic countering you would have to deal with, I can kind of understand. But hopefully Trials will fix all that. Seiken Densetsu 3 was very okay. Frustrating at times, but it has a lot of charm. It's an older game though. I can appreciate that, so I'd say it's worth someone's time if you don't mind a slower action RPG, and it's not a very long game, something like 25 hours. I'd be lying if I said it made me more excited for Trials of Mana, but I have faith they made some changes that will make this a great RPG. Week 17 done, time for Trials now. I'm debating on who to pick. On one hand, if I go with the same group, I can make a better comparison, but on the other hand, it would be nice to get a new point of view. Anyway, thank you all for your time. Let me know what you all think of Densetsu 3 or Trials or anything, and I'll talk to you later.